This week, New Yorkers will dress to impress, all in the name of charity. Thursday is the annual Dreams in the City event in New York City.
The gala raises money for the Diabetes Research Institute, and this year's Dare to Dream honoree is entrepreneur and diabetes advocate Jennifer Ross. Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me today.
Well, let's start at the beginning. You were diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 6 years old.
Yes, I was diagnosed when I was 6 years old, and then actually my younger sister was diagnosed when she was 13 as well.
So explain for people who aren't quite up on what exactly is diabetes and the difference between type 1 and type 2.
Yeah, so a lot of times when people think of diabetes, they do think of type 2, but type 1 is where your body makes no insulin, so you have to rely on taking injections, whereas typically type 2 can be managed with, diet, exercise, and sometimes taking some medicine as well.
I actually have type 2, so I'm very familiar with. But type 1, it's really it's a big change in your life. If you can just talk about, especially when you're a child, what needs to be done, how many injections you have to do, and what lifestyle is like.
Yeah, when I was first diagnosed, you have to test your blood sugar like 6 to 8 times a day. At the time, my parents were nervous I was having a low blood sugar in the middle of the night, so my mom was waking me up like every 2 hours. She was sitting outside my classroom to give my to test my blood sugar, to do shots, and even now it's testing my blood sugar 7 times a day, doing a shot every time I eat, thinking about what carbs I'm eating, how much insulin that means, and sort of always throughout my day, it's in the back of my head.
It's crazy to think the statistics, 30 million people, nearly 10% of the population in the U.S. has diabetes.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about, because you got started very early in your life with raising money for research. How did you start that and why?
From the day I was diagnosed, my life was definitely changed, and I always dreamed of finding a cure and felt like, what can I do to add to it? Whether it was, when I was younger, having lemonade stands and donating it to charity, and then when I was in high school, I actually had a concert that raised money for it. And yeah, kind of always felt like, what can I do to contribute? I'm obviously not a scientist, I'm not a researcher, but thought that I could do something to help.
And then in business school, you designed something for people.
Yes, so we launched Be Mixed, which is the first all-natural, no-sugar cocktail mixer, because we were sick of drinking vodka sodas. But the reality is, having diabetes and going out to restaurants and bars and always asking the bartender to make a drink without sugar and sort of getting this look of like, you can't have that. And so I would kind of go back to the vodka soda and always felt like I was missing out on those celebratory experiences and felt bad if I was having a cocktail that has a ton of sugar and calories. And so it really came out of a need that I wanted. And the reality is, everyone watches what they're eating and drinking, so no one wants all of the added sugar and drinks.
What advice do you have for maybe a parent who's watching who has a child who, like you, was diagnosed so early?
I think it's hard when you're a child to manage it yourself, so you definitely have to rely on your parents. But I would say there comes a time when the diabetic, can do it themselves, and you need to trust them. They are listening to you. They are listening to their doctors, and so, you have to give them a little bit of trust and rope to manage. And it all will be okay.
Yes.
As scary as it sounds.
And there are so many resources out there, so many organizations that are here to help.
There are,
so,
yes.
And you're a wonderful advocate.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
Chris Raggi actually is going to be at the event that you're going to be at.
Great.
You don't want to forget that.
Yes, no. So he's coming to the Dreams New York City Gala for the Diabetes Research Institute on Thursday night, and I am very excited to meet him.
He'll do a great job. He loves doing those events, all for a great cause. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. Dreams in the City is this Thursday, May 3rd, and for more information, you can head to our website, cbsnewyork.com.